Thursday, a beautiful one at that, and welcome to your favorite blockchain show, Banks and Blockchain. My name remains Olubumi, and this program is proudly brought to you by CNETv. I'm so glad to be here because guess what? We have an amazing guest. This is someone that is revered all over Africa and in the world in the blockchain space, and he's going to be coming on the show, and we are going to be discussing a very, very salient topic, which I'm going to tell you after. But very quickly, I'm just going to introduce him. He's not going to come on yet, but we are just going to do a very short bio on him so that our viewers can know who exactly we are bringing on the show. We are going to be bringing Shedra Kubiane. This is the co-founder and the CEO of Coronet Blockchain, which I'm sure that a lot of us know about. I mean, if you're in the blockchain space, you just have to know Coronet. And he has honored our invitation to be here to discuss very, very important subjects when it comes to blockchain, especially in Africa, because this has always been the focus of this program, Banks and Blockchain. And I'm so glad that you are here to join me today on this beautiful Thursday. Just so very quickly, Mr. Kubiane is a blockchain expert. Is currently the CEO and co-founder of Coronet Blockchain, as earlier spoken about. Now, what does Coronet, what exactly is Coronet Blockchain? Coronet Blockchain, the company, is a supply chain digital infrastructural company which leverages blockchain technology capabilities to evolve saloon sector. You know, we've been saying a lot about what blockchain can do. Just imagine the kind of application someone is using it for, a very, very innovative individual. And I'm so proud to be associated with him. I'm so proud that he has honored my invitation. So very quickly also, the saloon sector from hand to mouth in a bankable economy. So he's South African in terms of origin, where he's from, and he's been doing so many great things. He's been all over the world to speak. In fact, I listen and watch his shows to be able to infuse my own ideas and be able to develop myself as an individual, who is relevant relatively new to this space. I'm so glad that he's here with us. So very quickly, when we come back, we are going to be having him on the show. He's going to introduce himself. And we also we are going to ask a few questions about the things that have been bothering our mind about the blockchain ecosystem in Africa. We know that we are growing. We are growing by day, by the year, by the month. But we believe that there is still a lot for us to do. There's still a lot of people that we need to bring on board to be with us in this journey in Africa. So when we come back, we'll be going direct to Mr. Shedra Kubiane. Thank you. Please stay tuned. To our subject about what we are talking.
Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you able to see me?
Voice in blockchain in Africa. You're a very revered person all over the world when it comes to the space. You've done a lot of things, both for profit and both non-profit. So just give us a background about your journey and everything you're trying to do and you've also done in the blockchain space.
Thank you kindly. And once again, greetings to the Quenyus Extra TV family. Greetings to you, our esteemed anchor. Thank you kindly, and greetings to the audiences. It's lovely to be here and be the voice for change. You know, a bit of background. I am a born diplomat, meaning where I was born in South Africa. In Nigeria, you've got states. We have provinces. So I was born at the intersection of not one, not two, but three provinces. So as a born diplomat, I worked my way South Africa's corporate landscape from the village to corporate. And then beyond corporate, I ended up in management consulting with extensive background. My last corporate role was with Deloitte, the professional services accounting and auditing firm. I went into blockchain almost by accident, but more on that later. So where I'm at, I have a vision for Africa and the world. What the late legendary Kofi Annan did through diplomacy in the UN, I am the born diplomat who wants to bring blockchain diplomacy to unite Africa around the trust economy. So it's great to be here. Thank you kindly.
So much. That is a very good one. Thanks a lot. We appreciate what you just said about being a diplomat in terms of being Kofi Annan of blockchain. And we can't wait to see you up there. We can't wait to see you do more amazing things in this space. So let's just go directly into our subject about what we are talking about. And so we'll be speaking mostly about Africa because, I mean, it's where you are from, it's where I'm from. We are very passionate about this continent. We are very passionate about the progress. We are very passionate about the people. And this is one of the reasons why we decided to bring you, because we can see that you are really genuine about the growth of blockchain in the continent. So in terms of the blockchain space, that's the ecosystem, where does Africa stand as a date? Where do we stand? Where are we, in your view?
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, your question is quite aptly timed, especially when you're asking me this question 10 months after the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement went live on our continent. So that has got implications and a domino effect for the continent, for myself, for you, for Nigeria, West Africa, South Africa. Every part of the continent is touched by that agreement. Where blockchain comes in and where are we? I will put it as the state of blockchain currently as we stand. I'll touch on three things. You know, the first component in terms of the state of Africa's blockchain, the first pillar is awareness, which shows such as with the trailblazers and visionary shows like CNETv Extra, and now CNETv Extra TV, and now Banks and Blockchain by yours truly, highly esteemed. We are making progress within the space of increasing the awareness barometer. And also our universities, both in Nigeria and South Africa and Kenya, universities are beginning to try and incorporate blockchain, sometimes with a bit of cryptocurrency, but just blockchain in general. We are seeing a bit of increase on the university side or academia. We are seeing increase in the media, which is where we are having this conversation. We are seeing increase in the how do I call it, alternative media, which is where we are. Traditional media is still catching up. We are still waiting for traditional media to just be more robust and just be more bold. We are seeing a bit of coverage there. My co-founder and wife was covered by IOL in South Africa, and some leading expert, which is a professor in university, did a bit of coverage on us. And also, just a bit for the listeners, there is one of South Africa's respected magazines that will be covering us in the next month. So we are seeing traditional media trying to catch up with what the likes of CNETv Extra TV are doing. So you are leading from the front line in the media. However, on traditional, they're still coming. We'll wait for them. We will definitely wait with our coffee cup. Definitely. So that's the awareness. That's the awareness part. Then we've got adoption. You know, the state of blockchain expert view cannot leave out adoption. Any technology, whether it was WhatsApp, whether it was Facebook, media, whether it was banking, any technology will never stick to any country or continent unless it is adopted. Unless it is adopted through practical use cases. It can be smart, it can be intelligent, it can be powerful, but until it is adopted and it is used by you and me, it is used by everyday people, it's used by farmers, it's used by salons, it can even be explained by 10-year-olds, including grannies and grandfathers, then that technology is not going to hang around for too long. Adoption. So that's awareness, that's adoption. Last but not least, My fellow Africans, I speak to you as you look through the screen. I know most of you have downloaded the CNETv Extra, the CNETv Extra TV. Well done for downloading it. Now you can hear my voice. Now you can listen to our conversation. What I'm telling you is that Africa, don't look at blockchain as a solution you must consume. Don't look at blockchain as an item that you must maybe consume on your phone. No. You need to participate in blockchain. So I've touched on awareness. I've touched on adoption. The last part is market share. Africa is a big opportunity for blockchain. So we need our fellow Africans to come to the table and become producers, become solutionists, and lead from the front lines by creating blockchain solutions in Africa for Africa. So let's grab the market share. Let's not consume blockchain like we are consuming Facebook, like we are consuming Twitter. Let us create solutions so that we can so that the next breed of billionaires in Africa can be blockchain dollar billionaires.
Amazing. Shadrach, let me quickly say something. I think you are not just going to be Kofi Annan or blockchain. I think you'll be Kofi Annan and Martin Luther King Jr. of blockchain, because this is so well put together. I mean, I'm having goosebumps listening to you speak, honestly. And it is very, I love that. I love that you are from this continent, and I can see all the things that you're trying to do. And also talking about awareness, adoption, and market share. This is a very good breakdown of a perfect plan for us to be able to advance the adoption and the awareness and the market share of blockchain in Africa. We need to take it out to the people. You know, like you said, you don't have to sit down and consume it like Twitter, like Facebook. This has to be all encompassing. We have to put in our curriculum in schools. You know, we have to let people know. And we are going to have a lot of market share in regard to blockchain technology. I mean, it's visionary. I can see it myself. And listening to you speak, it's just very prophetic. And I appreciate that so much. So very quickly, we are going to go to the next question. So how do you think blockchain adoption will affect the fintech revolution in Africa? Because at the moment, we can see that Africa has about 6 unicorns, which is not something anyone could have predicted 10 years or 20 years ago. So we can see that we are moving at a rather fast space in the fintech world in Africa, and investors are beginning to come in. They are looking at Africa as the next frontier for fintech and also new technologies. So how exactly do you think blockchain comes into all of this? How is it interwoven with the fintech revolution in Africa? How can it advance it or regress it?
Thank you kindly. I'm going to touch on a point before I circle back to blockchain and the fintech revolution. The point I'm going to make is Africa, in keeping with the last point I made, needs to see more prosumers rather than consumers, meaning we need to produce what we consume. That must be clear. We mustn't just consume it, we must produce it. So Africa needs to see more prosumers rather than consume. To produce. So it means we must think like industrialists. We must think like the Dale Carnegies, the Rockefellers. We need to think like industrialists in the tech world and in the practical domain. More prosumers, less consumers. More trade, less aid. More trade, less aid. We mustn't go with a begging bowl. We must go with solutions. And the 6 unicorns that you've mentioned are an example on that. They are saying, give us funding to change. Don't just give us food. We eat, we come back tomorrow. We eat, we come back tomorrow. So the likes of the 6 unicorns that you've mentioned are already trailblazing to show Africans what they must do in Africa for Africa. That's one. How is the fintech revolution coming into a positive collision with blockchain? How is blockchain aiding the fintech revolution? I'm going to give 3 contexts before I give before I give the punchline close to this opportunity of blockchain and fintech. The first one, I would like to take audiences back to China about 20 years ago. China found itself emerging, waking up like a giant, waking up like a sleeping giant and getting into the global trade. What China needed was a fintech, but before fintech, China needed payments, needed the payments industry to become effortless. But there was a problem. You see, Visa and MasterCard and other traditional payments giants were mainly Americans. They were mainly in North America, the West. They haven't reached China. So what China did, in technological terms, we call it leapfrogging. So China did not think, oh, we need to build a payment infrastructure. We need to build a payment assets or a payment ecosystem. They didn't. They thought, leave behind debit cards, leave behind credit cards. Let's now leapfrog the whole payment space using fintech. And that's where the likes of Alipay, AliExpress, Alibaba, including WeChat, came into the space. Those are the, let's call them the Asian unicorns. They entered the space, the likes of Tencent. So the Asian unicorns entered the space to solution China, where China was trapped, leapfrog forward. So we must watch that closely, because some audiences may not realize that WeChat is not just a chat platform, but WeChat does payments, does ordering, orders logistics. WeChat is a lifestyle app. It's not just a chat app. It says chat, but it's we pay. I mean, you can order a maid on WeChat. You can order a helper, domestic helper, to come to your house. You can order food. You can do anything, everything on WeChat. So it's a super app. Africa, beyond the current unicorns, Africa needs to see more super apps that are solutioning unique problems in Africa holistically. Don't just solve payment, lifestyle, solve insurance, solve other things. We need to become industrialists in our vision. So that's the first thing with China. Let's go via India, which is another emerging economy, and we are inside the BRICS nation together with China, in Russia, and Africa. So if we pass India, when India, about 20 years, 25 years ago, India needed to communicate for that 1 billion population. They need to communicate. But here's the problem. They did not have a comprehensive telecoms infrastructure like they do in America, like they do in Canada, like they do in Europe. So what India did, at first, they thought, let's build the telephone lines. Oh my goodness. It was frustrating because the landscape is not the same. The community is not the same. The problems are not the same. So what did India do? India, they got an idea that mobile phone adoption is taking off in the 90s. So India switched and they leapfrogged. They ignored the telephone lines and they went to the mobile device. It was not as smart as this. It was big on the side, but it will do the work. So they began going the route of mobile telecoms. Today, India is among the biggest early adopters of any technology because they are mobile first. They are not waiting for telecoms. Last but not least, Africa, my home. Africa, my backyard. Africa, my office. In Africa, we've got a similar problem. Here we are about 10 years ago, I'll say about 10 years, we needed, mobile money, mobile payments, remittances, sending money home, sending money to each other to become simple because the Africa space is unique. The trade space is very unique. I mean, even though I'm in South Africa, Nigeria has got its own community here. They are my brothers, they are my sisters. So when they send money home, they needed an easier way to send money between South Africa and Nigeria, between South Africa and Kenya, and Nigeria itself. That's why the fintechs are doing well. But we did not have telecoms assets the way they do in the West. We also did not have a bankable community to the level that we should. We had a lot of the unbanked. That's the problem we have. We had a thin telecoms infrastructure and a thin, talking about banks and blockchain. We had a thin banking infrastructure, not where it should be, not where it should be. So what are we doing? We are with the likes of Africom that have gone ahead with, preceding the 6 unicorns that we have now. Mobile payments became a thing. And now the whole fintech revolution is now on steroids. And I'm looking forward to a day where we can move from 6 unicorns to 60 unicorns, because last year about 1 billion was brought into Africa, and now this year in October we are already seeing 2.3 billion US dollars that has already been deployed in funding. So it means we're going to move from 6 to 60 to 600 unicorns much faster. We're not going to try and do it like Silicon Valley. We are not Silicon Valley. We are a lot more diverse. We are a lot more bigger. We are a lot more creative. Yeah, we love our Silicon Valley people, but Africa is just more resilient and more creative. So watch the space when we bypass that. Where does blockchain comes in? You see, blockchain exists in the trust economy. Fintech exists in the finance economy. When you put the two together, it means you are able to bring down the cost of payment. When I'm moving money from Johannesburg to Lagos, fintech might actually reduce that remittance by maybe from 25% to 15%, but blockchain can actually move that even lesser, from 15% to 3%, which is where the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, they wish us to go there. I'm saying to reach those Sustainable Development Goal 2030, fintech and blockchain must work hand in hand, and they must cover their back. That is where we are headed. So the trust economy and the fintech economy, they are now merging within the platform economy. Africa, you are in for very good surprises. Let's do this.
Amazing. It's an amazing way to put it, and it's an amazing analysis that you've just done, taking us from many other countries, China, India, what they have done, then back to Africa, what we did with the mobile money revolution, and how blockchain and fintech are going to come together. That is so amazing. I mean, finance and trust, and reducing percentages and achieving the UN developmental goals for 2030. I mean, that's a very good analysis. And taking you a bit away from the fintech and all of that, our viewers need to know that, I mean, we've always said it, that there are many other use cases that you have for blockchain, but most of the time, all we speak about is either cryptocurrency, and today we are speaking more about finance. But what are the other, because Africa is a peculiar continent. As you said before, we are diverse, and at the same time, we have diverse problems, away from the kind of problems that people have all over the world. So for a technology like blockchain, we see that we should be able to apply it, especially within Africa, to solve certain peculiar problems. So what are the other use cases that you believe that blockchain is going to be adopted in, and what are the problems that these use cases or these applications are going to solve for us as a continent?
That's a very good question. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. You know, first and foremost, I would approach your excellent question through the 3 pillars. You know, we use the rule of 3 within my family and within my company. The 3 principles, I'll touch on finance, I'll touch on food, I'll touch on trade. Those are the 3 pillars where blockchain adoption will really shine and really embed itself into our daily lives, because that's where it is needed. It's not just needed in the marketplace, but blockchain is needed in our daily life to simplify and just enhance the opportunities we have. First and foremost, I would say finance. You know, let me qualify finance in terms of why blockchain adoption is needed there and is emerging there. That's number 1. I mean, we've got Patricia Nigeria. I mean, Patricia Technologies in Nigeria that's already using a combination of fintech and blockchain within the finance space, be as it may. That's number 1. Why is blockchain needed in finance, even beyond what Patricia can do, beyond what others can do in this space? We are stronger together. So we need a collective network effect in the finance space, in the payment space. Let me qualify as to why there's a need. I was in one of the global conferences, and my fellow panelists, one of them asked a great question. Funny enough, she's a fintech journalist of 30 years. She said,
Wow.
Everybody's going on and on about the unbanked and the unbanked. But why should we even try and bank them in the first place? Because banking across the 200 years that we've had banking as it is known now, banking is like maybe an old man who can only achieve XYZ. But the old man needs to exist next to some fresh blood. So banking and fintech must work together, not to bank them, but to enable them to transact with or without a bank account. We don't need, let them have a bank account. No. We should have a bank account. We need to make sure that anybody can transact anywhere in anyhow. That's what is focused. So that's why in finance, but now there's a problem. If you are going to bank without a bank, you've got a trust issue. You've mentioned trust earlier on. So blockchain use cases must emerge in the pillar of finance to really create a trustless environment whereby without the traditional vetting mechanisms that banking has given us. I mean, banking might be an old man, but we love our banking experts. We love our banking framework. They are limited. They are limited. They cannot run with agility, cannot run fast enough. They can't reach more people, because if you look at how banking works, your customer or KYC, those
the AML.
KYC procedures are very limited. They are very laborious. They are very hectic. They tend away, especially where stress is an issue, where people are uncomfortable. Ooh, asking too many questions. You're asking, and people are just frustrated. So people need. I'm gonna give an example. Look at Flutterwave. Look at Paystack. You are able to open an app for yourself within 5 minutes. Those are the fintech giants that are rethinking the payment space, among others. So we need agile payments. We need trustless payment. That's where blockchain comes in. Blockchain basically outsources the trust to coding and to a trustless environment, meaning payments can happen, but the trust, there won't be a compromise on that. Some people think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they're actually existing in the dark world, but it's easy. It's easier to track and trace crypto payments than it is to track and trace banking payments, because banking payments, anybody, if there's a banking ledger, anybody can wipe it and they can maybe hide it, but in blockchain you can't hide it, you can't erase it.
Yes, immutable.
And therefore, what's written there, what exists on the digital ledger will stay there. So we need to see more use cases emerge in the finance space, not to bank the unbanked, but to bring tools to the unbanked to still trade with one another, to still send money home. So that's why we do what we do, to send money home, to build projects, to transact with one another, to have South African VCs or venture capital fund Nigerian technology and have Nigerian funders fund the neighboring countries. We need the walls to come down, and banking for 200 years has been trying to give us that, but couldn't, because banking with its sophistication cannot avail to us what we need now, because we are a growing population with sophisticated opportunities. We need agility. That's one, finance. Second one is food. We have 33 million smallholder farmers in Africa. 33 million smallholder farmers in Africa that are actually existing next to 6 million commercial farmers. Why is that important? Africa's population by 2035 will double to more than 2 billion. So are we food secure or are we food vulnerable? Already now, the pandemic that is happening has tested our supply chains, has tested our food supply chains, meaning there's a lot of cassava being wasted in Nigeria. There's a lot of yarn. There's a lot of fruit and vegetables that actually rot. They actually are wasting away between the farms and the supermarket, from the farm and fork. So this kind of waste, we can't afford it as we become a growing population in Africa. We need blockchain solutions. That's one of the things that Corona Blockchain is doing outside here. We are doing things in agriculture. We need more blockchain solutions to
Amazing.
lower the barriers to entry so that those 33 million smallholder farmers, they can also come to the dinner table, to the economic dinner table, and their produce can come to market so that we don't just turn them away until the vegetables are rotting. We need to make it easier for a farmer in rural Nigeria to bring their food to Lagos without having to deal with 20 middlemen that are pushing them away. Blockchain in the trust economy can do that. So we need to lower our food wastage. We need to allow access to farmers. We need to become food secure. So food security is a key thing, and blockchain can help us to reach that. In closing on this point, 2018, 2019, I believe Africa, we imported about 45 billion US dollars of food. Why are we doing that when we've got 33 million farmers right here on African soil? Why are we doing that when farming or agriculture is the biggest employer? Why are we doing that when we've got 60 to 70% arable land that we should work? So we need to wake up, use our resources, bring those farms onto the blockchain so that it's easier for a farmer to get banking loans or to get fintech loans and go like, this is my farm, I own it, I actually have an NFT certificate for it, it's digital, it's right here, it's on the blockchain, so you can trust me. You don't have to go like, you own a farm, huh? I don't know if you own a farm. Go through the KYC process. I don't trust you. So farmers are turned away because the trust is thin. So blockchain will increase the trust, and farmers can get access to finance, and farmers can get access to selling to the big supermarkets in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Kenya. So that's the second thing. The third one is what we mentioned earlier on, trade. It must be easier for South Africa to trade with Nigeria. I think Nigeria's imports as at about 2020, they were sitting at about 13%. And the exports were also lower. I think the exports were quite modest, but we need to increase that. We need to take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, but to do that, we need to open up our borders, because if you own a trucking company and I'm sitting at the border, each time your trucks are coming, I ask the same question. Abi, let me see your papers. Okay, my brother, let me see. No, that is time wasting. I must have scanners that can detect your truck while it's coming, and they'll bring up your documents on my screen. I will know that these trucks belong to News Extra TV or News Extra Logistics. I can see that here. I know what they're carrying. When they come on the weight bridge, I can see their weight. We must use technology for scalable means to really open up our borders and turn them into drive-thrus. The amount of border clogging between Nigeria, Ghana, and the neighboring countries is nonsense when we've got technology that can really open up those borders, even on the Southern Africa. I'll give one example. 2 months ago, Kenya, just down the road in the East Africa, experienced an unexpected explosion in explosion supply, where there was an oversupply of potatoes, and a lot of those potatoes ended up rotting in Kenya. They were rotting in containers. It was terrible for anybody to go to the office and take in the rotting smell. But here's what's funny. Here's what's really strange. In South Africa, 2 months ago, we were experiencing a potato shortage. How can that be that Kenya has got an oversupply of potatoes, South Africa has got a shortage, but those potatoes could not cross the border? Do you know why? Because it requires 200 sets of papers to be checked before the potatoes can cross. 200 sets of papers. Before you do that, the potatoes, they're gone. So what are we doing? We must bring our trade onto the blockchain, because blockchain means I trust you. This is your truck. This are your goods, and you are not smuggling other things inside because the scanners have sealed your truck. So we need to use blockchain. In summary, where Africa will gain in blockchain is in finance, in food, and in trade. Trade also speaks about land. A lot of land in Nigeria. I remember, I think FINTECH Nigeria, Dr. Babatunde, he was saying in his early days, he used to give finance loans of $500. He used to give loans to some of the farmers in rural Nigeria. But tracking them down so that they can pay up so they can pay up. It was a nightmare. Sometimes he had to show up, Dr. Babatunde had to show up at 5 a.m. and chase those farmers because they were running away. They didn't want to pay on his book. So if they were on the blockchain 20 years ago, it was going to be a bit easier because he knows even the coordinates where the farm is. You can look at it on the device. You don't even know. You see the specific coordinates. You can fly there. And also your KYC on the blockchain is a lot better than in traditional banking. In traditional banking, anybody can say, you know what, I am 50 years old and I am a white man. I'm this. But on blockchain, it means that blockchain speaks to other systems. It is not just a bank to a client. It's an ecosystem of systems that speak to one another within Internet of Things and within AI, within blockchain. Those are the three areas: finance, food, and trade.
Shadrach, thanks a lot. I mean, I think I need to come to you to coach me about the principle of three, because I think it makes work easier and more explicable. It makes things very, very, very explicable. And you've done justice to that question. I like the analogy that you used for banking the unbanked. It is that's a very, very key thing I've learned today, because a lot of us, I'm also in the banking industry, and we're always talking about bringing those people, bringing them down, let them come to the bank and all of that, let them have access to financial services. But we've never seen it in that light that you just spoke about. And I really appreciate that you've brought that on this program. And for the three key things that you've spoken about, these are very, very, these are things that we need to note going forward about them, about food, about trade, and about finance. These are very strong pillars that I'm sure that if we adopt blockchain, like you said, is going to improve each of all these pillars in African continent. And it's also going to make Africa a frontier, which is what we all want to see. It is going to be a place where everybody wants to see how we've used this technology to develop ourselves as individuals, as a community, and as a continent. Thank you so much for that. Now, I'm just going to, I know I've taken so much of your time, but I mean, this is Shadrach. This is Shadrach. I have to use as much time as I can get, you know. So as a stakeholder in this blockchain ecosystem, how do you think that we can facilitate the awareness and the adoption? And the reason I'm asking this is because every other time people come to me, oh, I want to know about this. I want to see how I can get into this. What's the barrier to entry? You know, there are a lot of people that are beginning to hear this thing, but you have to be there have to be programs. You have to put things in a structured way before people can actually appreciate and jump in, because a lot of people just say, yes, I want to know this, I want to know that, but are they really ready? So how can we facilitate both adoption, which you spoke about, and the awareness of the blockchain technology? And also, I know that's going to grow the ecosystem. So, you know, what do you think that we can do as stakeholder? I mean, looking at you and many other people that are already in this industry, what do you think that we can do? What are the steps that we can take to improve awareness and adoption?
That's a very good question. Thank you kindly. And once again, the rule of three comes to mind, that if we look at the education pillar or awareness, that's education. And then if we look at our solutioning pillar, some might call it startups, but I prefer solution. So we've got a solution pillar in the middle. And last but not least, we need to look at best practice. So it is education and awareness, it's solutioning and startups, and it's global best practice that becomes global. What do I mean by that? Let me unpack them. Education. You know, the beginning of any significant disruption, or whether it's a disruption of your own life or it's a disruption through you into an industry, begins with information. We must be informed. So we must look at the education pillar, because our emerging, I mean, when was it? 2020, we had Africa Blockchain Developers Call. So it means there must be education within the segment of technical, whereby we need to empower, equip the emerging developers. That's number one. There must be an awareness by the broader market and the broader communities as to what blockchain is. Sometimes I ask somebody, what is blockchain? And they say blockchain is Bitcoin. So we need to continue to really open people's eyes that Bitcoin was the first horse to leave the station, but there are other horses that are coming. Bitcoin was just the first use case. So we get to educate people in that regard, that let's educate the broader public. Let's educate and equip emerging developers. I should not hire you because you are an African developer or programmer or coder. I need to hire you because you are excellent at what you do and you happen to be from Africa, which is what I love. It is a cherry on top that you are my fellow African. So we need to bring up coding excellence. We need to bring up public awareness in education, but we also need to bring up an awareness of entities, companies. We were approached about 2 days ago by a mining firm that trades in Africa with Asia. They trade across 5 countries in Africa. They're in the DRC, they're in Zambia, they're in South Africa, and other countries. They trade with Asia. They've been existing. And when they heard about Coronet blockchain, they approached us and said, we can see you do hair, what you call it, you track and trace hair, but can you help us to track and trace our minerals? I go like, my goodness, how did a mining firm realize that track and trace can help them? I said, okay, let's talk. We are open for business. So awareness can do that, not just for me, not just for you, but the news you're putting out there as CNETv Extra TV is really educating and opening the eyes of Africans. So let's continue to bring up education levels so that people are not ignorant. Ignorant is very costly. So secondly, solutioning or startups. We need more industrialist-minded startup founders that go like, if blockchain is big, then I need to be part of it. So now they need to actively seek knowledge on how to start blockchain companies. I mean, Coronet blockchain should not be alone. We need 1,000 more blockchain startups to join us. We need 2,000, make it 10,000. We are stronger together. So we need more and more founders to become bold enough as they leave corporate to start their blockchain companies, maybe as side hustles and main hustles later. We need more tech experts that are coding or they come from another background to really think about blockchain in terms of interest for Africa. So that's the solutioning startup pillar. The last but not least, we have space programs. We have space programs that take Americans to space, that take Chinese communities to space, Russia, and all those. And lately, Africa is becoming more interested in the space industry, because the space industry is linked to connectivity, is linked to the internet now. So Africa is paying attention. But why am I bringing up that space environment when I speak about best practice? Let us never, God forbid, my fellow Africans, let us never tire to learn from each other. Let Africans teach Africans how to do things that they've perfected and masters. If you look at a majority of those 6 fintechs, most of them are in Nigeria, if you're to think about it. Yes. So what is it that we can learn as fellow Africans from Nigeria about the Nigerian gene? Or maybe it is inside the egusi. If we need to eat it, we need to really subscribe. Sign up for the sign up for the we need to sign up for Jollof Rice. I don't know. So we need to humble ourselves to learn from each other. It must not be, oh, that's Nigeria. No, no, no. If Nigeria is doing something excellent, if Lagos is doing something, then Lagos and Cape Town must talk. Lagos and Santen must talk. If Kenya is the shining star of mobile payment, then we need to talk to Kenya. We need each other. Now it's no longer Kenya versus Nigeria, Kenya versus South Africa. It is Kenya, Nigeria together. It is Egypt with Ghana. We need each other. So we need Pan-African best practice. But we must not leave it there. We must not just go to space. We must go to other continents. We must cross the road. We must take the flight and go to other continents in order to learn what the Chinese community has done. We can take 1 or 2 things. What the Indian community has done, we can take 1 or 2 things. So let's have not just a global best practice or a local best practice. Let's have a global best practice. So in summary, we've got those 3 pillars. We've got education. It must increase. We must eradicate ignorance. Ignorance will finish us. Ignorance is costly. And secondly, we must become solution. We mustn't think, oh, one day somebody's going to come to Africa and rescue us on a white horse. No, 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 no. We know what happened when the white horse came to Africa.
Yes.
We know what happened. So we must not go there. We must not go back 100 years ago. Let's not wait for a rescue team to arrive in Africa. We must become our own rescue team by using the tools available to us. Let's use technology. Let's use blockchain. Let's also use humility to cross the border. An African Continental Free Trade Agreement has been put in place by our elders in order to make it easier for the movement of goods and people. Let's also move knowledge. Let's also move skills. Let's also move best practice. Thank you kindly.
Thank you kindly. I can't appreciate you enough for the kind of energy that you've put into analyzing all these questions and all these things, saying all these things. These are information that are going to be very useful for us going forward. And I'm so glad that you mentioned jollof rice, because Nigeria has the best jollof. Maybe it's in the jollof. And that's just by the way. I was going to ask a final question, but you've done justice to it while speaking about education and all the things that you said before. So I really appreciate the energy that you've brought. I appreciate you honoring us. Before we let you go, we'd just like you to say, because say a few things about what Coronet is doing. I know you might not be able to give us details because, of course, it's business. So, but then we'd just like to know, because I think I can see Papa Agriculture on your shirt, or Papa and Plant Papa. Yes, Plant Papa. So I didn't think that Coronet was going into agri, but I mean, that's a very exciting one. That's an amazing journey that you are taking on, and I appreciate that. Really, is very motivating for people like us coming into the space. So what would you like to tell the viewers about what Coronet, the plan of Coronet for the African continent when it comes to both education? I'm sure that you do a lot of that, because I see your posts speaking about that. Then you are really, really into the African culture and all of that. Then also agriculture. So what exactly are your plans? What are you planning as an individual and also as an organization? That's Coronet.
Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. So our vision is threefold as Coronet. Our vision is threefold. It's beauty, it's agriculture, and it's trade. What that means is that how we started our journey in blockchain, it was in beauty, meaning we were requested by a former colleague of mine from Deloitte to really help them out because they fell on hard times. And when they fell on hard times, they were now selling human hair extensions out of a handbag. And now they were saying, listen, we are stuck at a taxi rank. We are selling these hair extensions. Can you help us with strategy, growth, and with management consulting? I looked at it and I thought, ish, that is really so chaotic. I've never sold hair before. So we thought, okay, maybe we can do something. Within 36 months, we moved them from $500 to $2 million in 3 years only. So that it is 4 branches that we put them inside, 2 5-star hotels. So, it got a lot of attention. It got a lot of media stations calling us and say, how did you do that? How did you? It also had a lot of giant companies, big retails that are calling us to say, we didn't know the hair extension was so big. We want in on the hair extension. So we said, okay, we can talk. That's how we thought, wait a minute, let's analyze the whole industry. It is worth $7 billion every year to 24 million women that buy the extensions, and about 100 million human hair extensions are bought. When we looked at that, this problem is bigger. It's bigger than we thought. Let's create a truth machine to solve the supply chain, the supply-demand issues in the salon sector. And that's what we are doing. We are now onboarding salons throughout Africa so that they can now buy hair on the phone. They don't have to fly to China. They don't have to fly to India. They can now buy hair on the phone, just like how you can bring in things via Uber. You can bring parcels, you can travel. We are now have created the Uber of the hair extensions via Coronet blockchain. it is trustworthy. That's one. Number two, that's beauty. When it comes to food or when it comes to agriculture, I mean, it broke our heart when we flew out to Kenya and realized that out of every coffee cup that is sold globally, $4 to $8 is paid to the retailer, to the coffee shop in Dubai, in America, but only 1 cent. Only 1 cent makes its way back to the Kenyan farmer, back to the Ugandan farmer. We were very emotional when we saw that, and we realized that we need to bring blockchain into coffee, blockchain into West Africa, whereby the raw cocoa, global raw cocoa produce is in Nigeria, is in Ghana, is in Ivory Coast, about 70 to 80% of it. But we're not making chocolates in Africa. If you eat an African chocolate, maybe it's like you are eating medicine. Oh, this thing, it doesn't taste good. We must stop this thing. We must stop this thing. So we need to bring blockchain into the cocoa industry to make sure that small children are not abused in producing the raw cocoa, to make sure that the farmers in the East Africa are not abused by giving 1 cent. What can you do with 1 cent? You can't educate your family. You can't live off 1 cent. And also to make sure that Africa is food secure. We have got a project in the pipeline right now with Canada. We have got a project in the pipeline where we are testing out how to favor African farmers in a way that their produce can end up in our homes in an easier way. So there's something that the listeners, I mean the viewers, must watch. Canada and Coronet, the 2 C's, are doing something big in Africa for food security. It's gonna make headlines. Watch the space. So those are and when it comes to trade, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is not a big agreement that must stay on the shelf. No, the paperwork must meet digital. The paperwork must intersect with blockchain, because maybe you are allowed. It's almost when someone tells you you are allowed to eat food. If you live in Lagos, you are allowed to eat food in Abuja, but you can't get to Abuja. When you try to cross, maybe there's some soldiers that are blocking there. They go like, where's your papers, Abi? What are you talking about? So we need to make sure that the paperwork is implemented digitally. It's not enough to say we can trade with each other as Africans in order to reach $450 billion US. It's not enough. We must make it possible through blockchain and the trust economy. Thank you kindly.
We are so proud of what you're doing and what you're trying to do. Canada and Coronet, the 2 C's coming together. This is going to make headlines. Viewers, we've been with Shadrach Kubiani. He's been giving us back to back. He's giving us up and down, and you can feel the energy. I mean, I'm sweating within me. And, I'm so proud that such an individual, such a legend, is an African, and we can see what he's trying to do. So, guys, please go to coronetblockchain.com. That's where you'll find a lot of the things that Shadrach is doing with Coronet. And you've also listened to some of the things, some of the plans that he has with the Affecta deal, with coffee and everything about food, and with Canada, bringing Canada into Africa and bringing blockchain with Canada, the 2 C's and Coronet, and also trying to advance a lot of the things that we keep speaking about on the African continent. And we are so proud. We are happy that he is one of us, and I'm so glad to have you, Shadrach. On this note, I'll be closing out, and I hope that we are going to have a more cordial and more positive and very great relationship, because I'm never going to let your shirt go. I mean, this is you're a very great person, an amazing person, a very nice person to approach, and I'm really glad that you came on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for dishing out of all these things on this show. I'm sure that this is going to be remembered for a very long time. It's been one of the exciting episodes that we've had, and I'm so glad that you brought all of it into form. We are so thankful to the Coronet crew. We thank everybody backstage that is also assisting Shadrach in doing an amazing job. So guys, keep following Shadrach Kubiani. You can follow him on LinkedIn. You can check out the website. He's an amazing guy. He's going to do great things. You are going to see it on the headlines. You heard it first on CNETv. So please follow, keep in touch, and keep seeing what he's doing. And from us here in CNETv, we are so glad to have you, Shadrach. and we hope to connect with you in later times. Thank you so much for honoring us, and have a blessed day. Thank you very much, Shedra.
Thank you, family. To be continued.
Yes. Yes, to be continued. And on that note, viewers, we are going to be closing the show. I know that it's been an exciting one. It's been a beautiful Thursday for us, and we've learned a lot, we've seen a lot, and we've heard a lot, especially from Shadrach. And thank you so much for staying tuned with us. And we are going to be seeing you on the next episode of Banks and Blockchain. It promises to be another exciting episode. So please join us next week, Thursday at 1 p.m. WAT. Download the CNETv app if you have not done that. If you're watching on YouTube, please go to the CNETv app, download it, and join us for so many other programs that CNETv brings to you. CNETv is the foremost and the first of its type in Africa, 247 TV station broadcasting everything blockchain, cryptocurrency, and fintech. It's a very wonderful platform and first of its kind in Africa to the world. Thank you very much, and have an exciting day and weekend.